Good evening. Welcome to the October Board of Education meeting. If you will, let's stand for a moment of silence and the pledge led by Dr. Rouse. Starting out, can we get the agenda approved? Can I get a motion for that?
Second.
Motion by Dr. Rouse, second by Mr. Jones. Moving on to the consent agenda. Also, we discussed all of this in our earlier work session. Anybody have any comments or questions about any of that? If not, can we get a motion to approve the consent agenda? Motion by Mr. Hughes. Can I get a second? Second by Mr. Ireson. You do that by voice vote. All in favor? See any public comment for anything on the agenda, so we're going to move on to the communications to the board, and that'll turn that over to Mr. Carter.
Thank you. A couple of things on the director's comments. Number one, would like to remind everyone that we will be having fall break next week, the 9th through the 13th. Students, teachers will all be out. Wish everybody a happy fall break. Hope everyone gets recharged and ready for coming back in our high schools. It won't be long after they're back till we'll be doing our end of course exams, and we'll have benchmarks coming up in the elementary and middle schools as well. So get ready to go when they come back from fall break. Second, today we had an incident resulted in evacuating the school today at Westridge. It was quite a lengthy evacuation, much more than what happens in a lot of those situations. You go out and there's a sweep of the building or a check done, and then you were right back in today. That went on for most of the afternoon and started about 10 o'clock this morning. I know Mr. Leo's over here, but I just wanted to pay a real big compliment to administration, staff, and faculty at Westridge, everyone from the Sheriff's Department, those cooperating organizations that brought either first responders, K-9 units on campus, the students, especially the students at Westridge. There was times when we were up in the bleachers looking down, and the students, how they handled the day was just, it was beyond exceptional. It was exemplary in how they conducted themselves. So that's a big credit to the staff there and how they prepared their students. So we will be doing debriefings. The staff at Westridge will debrief over the situation tomorrow. And then here at Central Office, we'll be doing a debriefing as well. And it is an ongoing investigation, so we won't elaborate on anything there, but just wanted to express our appreciation to Westridge and their staff and students on how that went today. Also at this time, we last week we did a presentation about the TVOS and how TVOS scores were dispersed across the district, and the fact that Sullivan County is, for the school year 22-23, was recognized as a level 5 school system, which is quite the accomplishment. We had 7 schools who scored out as level 5 school systems for their composite scores. And we have representatives here tonight. Like to recognize them and give them a certificate and have them come up to the front. All right. We had 5 elementary schools, and we'll call your name out and representative from that school, and then Mr. Price will, if anybody wants to take a picture or anything, it'll be with Mr. Price here, and he'll hand the certificate off. So, Ketron Elementary, Ms. Sherry Duvall's here this evening. Congratulations. Mary Hughes Elementary, Mr. Randy Gentry is here this evening. Mr. Wilson here from Miller Perry. Mr. Wilson, this isn't your first rodeo. How many of these? 5. 5 years consecutive. At Rock Springs Elementary, it's also not the first time, and I believe we do have Miss Penny Blevins here this evening representing Rock Springs. Miss Blevins, how many years? 4, I believe.
Should have been
Correct?
more than that.
This is 4.
Can I just say, it should have been more than that.
You can say whatever you like. We'll just, but 4.
Well, at least.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We had 2 middle schools that received this as well. Sullivan Central. Ms. Wright's here this evening. And then with Sullivan East Middle School, we have 2 representatives that I wanted to recognize. Mr. Greg Stahlcup was the principal during this, and then Miss Sherry Nelson is the current principal there. So if they both would come up, please. Thank you. And then one high school. And I talked to Mr. Hare today, and he said, you know, I would really like for Mr. James to accept this for our school because Mr. James just represents everything about Sullivan East. It's really great. So Mr. Rick James is here for Sullivan East High School tonight. Moving on from there to unfinished business, we have the old Holston warehouse. As we discussed during our work session tonight, there is some interest for that property expressed by Northeast State Community College. Dr. Jeff McCord and a team from there met with Charlie Hubbard and myself. Mr. Hubbard is going to be progressing with that conversation, and actually they're going to be looking at the property. So I'll give you more updates as those become available. Any questions on the old Holston warehouse? The Henry Har property, this is involved with a potential land swap. And then also there would be another piece of property that would be required for us to connect to the other road on the other end of this land swap that we're proposing. And Teresa Tibble is, she and her husband are the owners of that property. And they're proposing a donation of a swath of land that would tie in with where we would actually be doing a land swap with Mr. Tatum. So it could all work out. We've just still got a lot of details and a lot of getting some things settled. If that would be possible, so we'll be coming back there. And then, I believe out of the work session, we decided that next month, we will invite representatives from a group who are proposing to create a community center at Sullivan Gardens, the former Sullivan Gardens Middle School, or Old Sullivan West. Any conversations on any of items 6A? 6B, we do have a facilities report that the principals concluded and submitted. During our work session, it was asked to separate those into maintenance items as far as things that could be done by our maintenance department and other items that would be more structural in nature. So we'll separate that list out and get that back to the board there. Anything on 6B? Down to new business. We are asking for a Perkins budget amendment. Ms. Madgett has made a shift of some funds between line items, but there's no change to her plan. So I believe that would be an item for a vote.
You've heard the recommendation from Mr. Carter. We need to approve this Perkins budget amendment. Can I get a motion to that effect?
I make that motion.
Motion by Dr. Rouse, second by Mr. Robinson. Ms. King, if you'll take the vote.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Item 7B, during our work session, we reviewed the TISA funding goals that are required by the State Department. Each school district is required to submit goals for how TISA funding will support your efforts to improve and increase different aspects of our educational program. For our particular TISA goals, we have three. One related, which is required by the state for everyone to have one goal related to the third grade reading scores. Our second goal is related to math in third through eighth grade. And then the third goal is a college and career readiness goal related to continuing to move the needle forward for graduation rate, ready graduate, ACT, all the EPSOs. Those are considered EPSOs, college and career planning, and work-based learning placements. So this has to be uploaded to the state by November 1st, but then it is a working document. And so the approval of it could happen tonight, or we could go forward till the next November meeting. And I think through our discussions, we were going to propose this for approval tonight, and then any public comments or any recommendations from the board would be made as we go forward, and those recommendations are made.
Can I get a motion to approve? Make that motion. Motion by Mr. Iverson, second by Mr. Jones. Any discussion? Ms. King, take the vote.
Yes.
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 All right. Item 7C, it's titled Social Media Lawsuit. And during our work session, presented the recommendation, or the opportunity might be a better choice of words. There's a lawsuit that's being proposed. Started it down in Clarksville, Montgomery, Tennessee, but it's basically similar to the Jewel litigation that Sullivan County has been a part of. But this is a lawsuit against different social media companies, including but not limited to Meta, which would be Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Google, TikTok, several different social media sites. And the litigation basically stemming from it is that the countless hours that they're having to devote to counseling, discipline, and other issues stemming from the effects of social media on teenage minds. So that's one that we'll be getting some more information from our school board attorney, Kevin McCarty, but just wanted to make that, no action needed on that one tonight. Chris McCarty, excuse me. Thank you, Dr. Rouse.
That brings us into our public comment for the non-agenda items. I do have, I believe, 4 people that have signed up to speak tonight. Just going to lay out a little bit of ground rules here. You'll have 3 minutes to speak, and we will not speak about personnel issues. Okay, that's not allowed. So the first one on the list is Tamia Fletcher.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Tamia Fletcher, the senior chair captain of Westridge High School, and I stand before you today to address a pressing issue that has deeply affected our school's cheerleading program. Abby White, who was undoubtedly the best choice of assistant cheer coach, was denied this opportunity, leaving us with many unanswered questions. First and foremost, it is crucial to highlight that both our athletic director and principal wanted Abby for the role and after an interview process. Yet perplexingly, no one has provided a reason for her denial. This lack of transparency has left us in a devastating situation as we are now unable to compete due to the absence of Abby White. As this being my last year as a high school cheerleader, you are taking away the opportunity of competing one last time before I graduate. You are also taking away the experience that younger cheerleaders need to have if they cheer in college. By denying Abby, you are stripping away these opportunities from our entire cheer team. You have also let Coach Osborne be alone for 5 months and made her shoulder the responsibility of taking 24 athletes to camp without any volunteers. What baffles me the most is the discrimination we seem to be facing in the cheerleading program. On game nights, it is evident that Westridge Band has many volunteers and staff who haven't been hired through Sullivan County. Football players also enjoy the support of alumni and numerous volunteers, yet cheer is being policed and restricted. It is important to note that parents and our head coach have known Abby since she was younger. Vouching for her character and experience, it is a valid question to ask if this is professional to let personal issues prevent the hiring of the best person for this job. Now let's look at the glaring discrepancy. The assistant dance coach at East High School is the same age as Abby White and isn't a Sullivan County employee either. She graduated from South the same year Abby graduated from Central High School. This situation raises concerns that someone in a powerful position within Sullivan County might have acted out of jealousy or bias. Possibly was jealous of Abby or another cheerleader with better skills than their family member who might have felt that they might not be in front and center if someone with Abby's experience is coaching. This is not just unprofessional, this is discrimination. Now let's talk about the disparities within our school. The band has at least 9 paid staff members who are not hired through Sullivan County. The football team also has non-Sullivan County personnel helping, with whom have graduated from Westridge High School only 2 years ago, meaning that they played football and went to school with their athletes that they are coaching. Even the Westridge Twirlers have received assistance from an ETSU student who happens to be a sister of one of the Twirlers, yet cheer is denied even a single additional person. High school cheerleading opens doors to college opportunities, especially for those who aspire to compete at a collegiate level. For our younger girls with no experience competing, this affects their chances of making college cheer teams and securing scholarships, considering most college cheer programs compete and the experience is needed. Without Abby, we cannot compete, and it is unrealistic to expect Coach Osborne to handle over 20 athletes alone when most cheer teams have over 2 coaches when competing. Abby White volunteered and coached for a year, which she was allowed to do until the start of the new season when she was told that she couldn't be there. No one cares for the team as passionately as she does, and her extensive experience is invaluable in keeping the team safe from injuries while performing difficult stunts and representing Sullivan County at its best. Dr. Carter, during your interview, you stated that there's always going to be 2 sides and to make sure that each side is heard. Do your research and investigation because the truth lies somewhere in the middle and you would listen to all sides before giving a response. You said this claiming that this is what you would do in this position, which is the opposite of what you have done. Obviously, the truth wasn't heard and it was ignored, and now our cheer program is suffering from that. I hope that we can rectify this situation, not just for me, the team, or Coach Osborne, but for all future athletes in this program. Together, let's strive for fairness, equality, and justice in our cheer program, ensuring that our athletes have the opportunities that we deserve. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Courtney Tipton.
Good afternoon, guys. Thanks for having me. I apologize, but hearing that gets you a little emotional. These are our students. These are our future leaders. These are the ones that we look to help raise the grandchildren. If their voices aren't heard, then whose will be? Second, this is so unfair to Coach Osborne. Would any of you send your child to a program, to a competition, to any type of training, knowing that there is one adult solely responsible for that entire team? Hats off to Coach Osborne. She did exceptionally well. But again, it is so unfair that this coach, this teacher, this fellow Sullivan County representative had to go at it alone. Not because there wasn't the funding, not because that there wasn't someone there willing to help, but because they were told that they could not, when every other program has an abundance of them. It is necessary to have assistance. It is necessary to have parents' involvement in raising the children and the future leaders of this community. I don't know what needs to be done, but I can tell you it's unfair to these children sitting behind me. And I come here as a parent of someone who loves them and who supports them and has stood by and watched them grieve, get mad, be upset, work through the pain, work through the sore muscles, and still be denied the opportunity to excel and to just represent themselves and to represent their school the best way that they can as a cheerleading squad at competition. Without those competitions, without that recognition, these girls don't have the opportunity and won't have the opportunity to go before colleges. It just won't be allowed for them because why? They'll be overlooked because they don't have the tools set before them to excel in front of these communities and these colleges. So I just really want to press, and I pray that you guys will get together and figure out what needs to be done in order for these girls to excel and to be their best, because at this point, it's almost sabotage. There's someone here that's willing, and at this point, I'm almost quite positive she would probably do it for free as a volunteer, not to prove anything, but just because she's that passionate about the cheerleading and she's that passionate about these girls. Who wouldn't want that on their team? As a baseball coach, as a football coach, who would not want that volunteer on their team that's going to be in that student's corner cheering them on and making them be their best? So again, I come to you as a parent, as a concern, and I pray that you guys can get this resolved sooner rather than later so these children can go and compete and show what Westridge has to offer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bella Graybill.
I'm a sophomore at Westridge High School, and I would just like to state the fact that Abby White, her senior year at Central High School, she taught their entire choreography team their entire routine for competition, and they went and won U.S. finals, and they all won rings. And Abby is a coach at Top Gun for a level 4 team. She has helped us with no money. She doesn't want the money. She has plenty of money. She doesn't want anything from you guys other than to help. And all she's ever tried to do is help. She doesn't want anything because she's so passionate about it. She's done it since she was 3. And it discourages me a lot because we were given no reason as to why she was not hired, as to why anybody was not hired. It is beyond unfair to Coach Osborne that 24 girls are stuck with one coach to do everything, and that we are being pushed to the side, and I just feel not looked at. I don't feel like we're cared about because it's very unfair and it's unsafe. And I just think all of you guys need to really consider everything and not just consider what one person has to say or how they feel about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Paget, Rodney Paget.
My name's Rodney Paget, 1125 Gautland Shoals Road, Bluntville, Tennessee. After hearing those guys, I kind of feel bad even coming up here and putting something else in front of you. The reason I'm here, I talked to Director Carter earlier this week, and I know you've had a busy 2 days, so I know you haven't probably had a chance to even look in what I was talking to you about. But back last October, my son, a couple of swim team members, Mr. Slap from the Barracuda Club, those guys all came up here and requested that you guys consider repairing the Sullivan Heights pool. We did a pool survey. We talked about, wishing that we could get middle school programs started, that sort of thing. So I guess I'm here again to just hopefully plant a hydrophilic seed a little bit. It looks like that some of those things you guys have addressed, and in the past few weeks and months, I've been listening to, proposals of the Westridge pool and trying to figure out whether that's feasible and what's involved with that. And Avery was planning on being here tonight and thanking you for those efforts. But after the events that happened at school today, he was a little behind with his dual enrollment homework and that sort of thing. So I'm here for him, I guess. But he did want to, say that he was thankful that you were putting those efforts in. The other thing, though, that kind of got lost, I think, a little bit with the pool repairs and whatnot was our concerns about wanting to build our program, our Westridge swim programs, our Sullivan East High School swim programs. And by doing that, we wanted to try to get middle school programs started. And I did, like I said, reach out to Director Carter, and he has been very nice about his responses to me, and I'm not here to try to push. Please don't take it that way. I'm really just here to plant the seed with all of you. My son and I went to Dr. Fields at Sullivan Central a few weeks ago and asked, kind of what would it take to get something like this going. And honestly, Avery was hoping that as a swim captain and whatnot, that if there was a sponsor that was willing to start a club or a team, that he could even help with, working with the kids and things like that. But I understand that age is a problem with things like that. Moral of the story, though, is we did surveys last year. It may be that we need to do a survey again to see what the middle school interest is. But somewhere between last year and now, a year's gone by, swim season's upon us again. We still haven't got any closer to middle school teams. I guess I would like to see, before budget times come around next year, that sort of thing, could we start looking at, okay, what's our interest? And if our interest is there, which apparently it seems like it was last year with the survey, can we go ahead and post for middle school swim coaches to see if anybody's interested in taking on that role? Go ahead and post that position before budget comes and that's no longer able to be budgeted. Can we, if that step is met, if somebody's interested, then can we start working toward getting those programs started? I worry that if things just get thrown up in the air and nobody actually grabs onto it and takes responsibility for it, sometimes it will fall back through the cracks. And again, like I said, it's been a year. Nothing's been started. And I'd really like to see that. It really won't help my family that much, but I'd really like to see that, because I think with the loss of Warriors Pass State Parks pool, the Natural Tunnel pool, the Haynesville pool now, a lot of your swim opportunities, a lot of the places that your swim clubs and your high schools and schools would go to practice, it's getting bottlenecked into the Kingsport Aquatic Center, and they just don't have the time slots for everybody that would need that sort of thing. So, what's involved? Is it positioning, posting a position for the swim coach? Is it finding out how to get transportation of Sullivan Heights kids over to Central so that we can combine those two middle school teams if Sullivan Heights pool's not going. But can we look into that? And again, I know you said you would, and I appreciate that, and I'm not here to push it along too hard, but I just am here to plant the seed that so everybody knows, and maybe it could get rolling, okay? And again, if you wanted to go back to the October 18th meeting, if you can hear me on that video, I did talk about Elizabethton's program, I talked about Kingsport, I talked about Hawkins County, I talked about Science Hill and how they work with, like a combined middle school, high school sort of deal. So maybe that helps, I don't know, but again, just here to kind of plead that case. I appreciate your time, and again, thank you for your correspondence this week.
Thank you. So it leads us up to my comments. So just for information, I got an email from Mary Beth Barnum, I believe is her name, and Westridge High School is being nominated for TSBA School of the Year. So that's exciting news. It's great news. We were in the running for that information. She'll let me know the outcome at some point. I don't exactly know the time frame on that or when it will be, but I do know that we are in the running. Westridge is for TSBA School of the Year. Just for y'all's information, the board committees, I think we sent an email out, Ms. King did, and we didn't get any responses back, so just stay on the same committees as we were on last year. Is that good with everybody? Board self-evaluations, they should be at your desk. They are due October 27th. If you can get those to Ms. King, she will take care of those for us. I think the only other thing is to set a November work session and meeting date. And I guess that would be November the 2nd. It's the first Thursday, is that right? Work session at 4:30. Regular meeting will be at 6:30, but we do need to have a called meeting at 6:15 prior to the regular meeting for those board evaluations, right? To talk about the board evaluations, approve those. I think that's all I got, other than it was great to see all those level 5 schools recognized today. That's pretty cool. We've got that many schools that get that high of a score. Several of them year in and year out. That's pretty awesome. And the only other thing I have to add is Mr. Carter spoke to it when he first started speaking about the deal at Westridge today. And many of y'all know in the daytime, I work at the sheriff's office as a detective, and I was there in a law enforcement capacity. And I just want to say, from my point of view, things down there, they were hectic, yes, but everything was as smooth as could be expected. And I think everybody had nothing but the safety and the security of the kids, staff, faculty, everybody on that campus at the center of what we were trying to do, both the school system and law enforcement and emergency services. I can't speak high enough of Mr. Leal, Mr. Carter, and everybody was down there, and we had to change the plan several times because of different reasons. But everybody just flowed with it and made it work. Yeah, it was hot. I was hot. Kids were hot, but they were safe. We knew where they were at. They were in a safe environment, and that was our priority. Okay, I want everybody to understand that. That was the priority, was the safety of these kids. And it is an open investigation, and hopefully whoever is responsible for this will be held accountable, and we'll go from there. But that's my take on that. I can't say enough good things about how that was handled down there today, especially from the school side of things. And with that, I'm going to be quiet and turn it over to Mr. Iverson for anything he has to say. want to say really thanks to Westridge, thanks to everything you guys did there today. It's a crazy situation. There's not a playbook for it. There's not a 1, 2, 3 situation at all. It's very dynamic, and I think they did a great job.
The second thing I'll say, and I'll quit because no mic, but thank you guys for coming. The ladies that came and spoke today. As a parent, it's tough to get up in front of a group of people and speak. As a teenager, it's incredible. So letting people know how you feel is important. Letting people know how you see things is important. Drawing attention to things is important. So thank you. Thank you for coming forward. Thank you for speaking. It wasn't easy. I know it wasn't easy. If your hands are still sweating, I'd understand that. So, but again, thank you guys for coming. Thank you for talking. So that's it.
Dr. Rouse.
I'd just like to say congratulations to all of our schools, what our teachers are doing, what the students are doing, the administration, but hats off to the level 5 schools.
As you know, we've been talking about the busing situation. I have made contact with another school system and have some possible meeting dates. Mr. Spivey's not here, so I won't be able to confirm those dates, but third week in October, he's got 2 dates that we can meet. I have a list of questions, and I've prepared some things for him. Hopefully, by the time we meet again, maybe we will have met, and I will have some information to pass along. So thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Robinson.
I don't have a whole lot, just congratulations to our level 5, and then hit on what Iverson said. It takes a lot to stand up there and speak, so thank you all for coming out. And I hope everybody enjoys fall break, and we'll see you in November.
Mr. Jones.
Thank you to those who did speak tonight, and Mr. Carter is available to meet with anyone who has a concern or a question on an individual basis since it's related to a personnel issue. As a member of the Board of Directors for Tennessee School Board Associations, I attended a meeting last week, and there's 11 resolutions that will come before our meeting in November, I think November the 17th, 18th. I would encourage you to read those resolutions when the agenda comes out. And also on the TSBA Westridge nomination, I would encourage you to go online and vote because it is a voting process once they get the pictures posted and all the other data posted. When we meet with the delegate assembly, I think we qualify for either 5 or 7 delegates. I would encourage you this year to go in and vote because there's some things related to the retention law this year, the 3rd grade retention, and also to end-of-course testing that's going to be crucial, and TSBA is backing us on many of those things.
Can you remind us when that's posted, or is it there now?
It's not out yet. I'll remind you when it gets posted. And I do have copies of the resolution if somebody wants those. If you we can make you a copy if you want to read those ahead of time. But there's 11 of them and several pages, so I won't bore you with reading those aloud, but they are fairly interesting. Thank you.
I got anything else? Motion to adjourn? So moved.